Hi, I'm Daniel Metler from 2SEC Internet Solutions, and today I'm going to show you what Razor is. Because Razor is one of the most amazing technologies available to web systems nowadays, especially in the Microsoft environment. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't even know it. And since it's all standard, the learning curve is pretty flat, and we've integrated it into 2SexyContent. So, here goes. Let's just see what we're going to look at. We're going to look at some live demos. So we're actually just going to go ahead and program together. Then we're going to talk about what Razor is and why it's much better than tokens, look at some tricks and some background stuff, okay? So let's start with the live programming. So let's just go ahead now, and we're going to take our quotes example we did in a previous movie and create the same template in Razor now. So let's just get started. What you see here is the page we've already, if we look inside this template here, you'll notice that this is the very basic token template, just showing the toolbar, the quote, the author, and the photo resized to 200 by 200. Very simple, done in Razor, works easily. So let's add another module, and then let's create the Razor template for the same thing. Very simple. Okay, we're going to say this is a quote. Now, of course, our template is not available yet, so we will go and create it. Let's go into the administration, go to the templates, and create a new one. We're creating this one. This is a quote as Razor. And you'll notice, by the way, that we'll be able to do some really neat stuff here just because we're using a very powerful programming language. Now, we don't have the file yet. Let's create it and quote as Razor CH. Minor detail, this underline is very, 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 very important. It's a security feature from ASP.NET. Any Razor file with an underline at the beginning, underscore, cannot be called directly. So it can only be called from inside environments like .NET Nuke. So great stuff. So let's say it's a quote, and let's just quickly give it some demo data just to make sure something shows up. Okay, that's it. Now, so far, we're selling the quotes. Now we're going to go for the Razor, and we'll probably not end up seeing anything because it's a blank Razor template, right? Give it a second to load. There we go. So we've created our template, but it's not extremely exciting. So how about to start with, we'll just quickly copy the template we had from the token template. Now I'm aware the text is pretty tiny, so let me just see what I can do to help you out here. Okay, I think I'll do the text editing inside a text editor. Give me a moment. Okay, so here's the original template. Not extremely exciting. Let's just make sure we have some color coding. Okay. So what are we going to do? We're going to say, first of all, let's just make sure we have placeholders at content.quote instead of with a square bracket, at content.author instead of with the square brackets, and at content.photo instead of with the square brackets. Just to start with, that's it. So let's copy this into this here. And again, as previously, remember when we had these things with the toolbars and stuff and with the placeholders and tokens, same thing, it tells you what you can do. So let's update this, and we're expecting an output very similar to the previous one, so just that it kind of works. Now, we don't have any nice content yet, so let me just type in something here to make it look nice. So let's say the quote is, 2SexyContent rocks with Razor. And let's assume Raphael wrote that. And of course, he will need a photo. And let's just upload a fresh photo, just for the heck of it. Honestly, I have no idea what pictures I have here. Again, let's hope nothing embarrassing. Let's take this one here. Or here. That's right, my mafia picture. There we go. And just as a side note, note the picture was tall, but now in the preview it's going to be square. This is thanks to our really, really cool thumbnail or imagery size we've got integrated. So this looks like it works, right? Now, why did we even do it in Razor? Here's the first moment we're going to actually start using Razor to do something more special. Let's pretend I didn't add a picture. You'll notice that before, when I was using the demo data, it just had a nasty placeholder here. And that's actually one of the main issues with token templates. If we don't have data, tokens have no way of telling the difference that they should change the way they show something. Also, if something's in a drop-down, show yes, no, or something, tokens cannot handle that. So the nice thing about Razor is that we can actually create conditions like if content.photo is blank. I'm just going to make a very trivial example here. Let's say if it's not blank, then do this, and else put a little span there. So nothing extremely exciting, right? But if you kind of read a little bit to C# here, it says if the content photo is blank, well, if it's not blank, show the picture, otherwise not. This is not possible using tokens. So let's modify the template and paste my new version here with a condition. And this is what makes Razor so much more exciting than tokens. You can actually do really, really cool stuff. You can make templates that react to the situation, and that's simply just not possible with tokens. And you saw the beginning was very, very simple. So this is where we were. We just created a Razor template for our quotes with a conditional part. Okay, let's continue to understand what it's about. Microsoft made a Razor in 2011, so it's been on the market for a while. We're now running version 2. Careful, there's a little problem with version 2 because of Dawn and Nuke, but you'll see that in a moment. It's open source, by the way. You can actually download the full source code for Razor. Really nice. It's free, etc. You know the game. Okay, some simple code examples here. You can just write @title, and that's it. Or you can make some conditions just like I just did. So that's really nice. And the reason why it's great is for simple things, it's not much more difficult. But for exciting things, you can just do things that were not possible before. I would just like to show you this situation now. Currently, we have a quote that is one line only. So let's go back to our demo and pretend that we're going to change our content type to allow a multi-line quote. Why would we want to do that? Well, sometimes you want to be able to give your customer the ability to type in more complex stuff, but you don't want to give them HTML. So no WYSIWYG, but you want to give them the ability to add multi-line quotes. And this is exactly what we will be doing right now. We will say, okay, this is multiple lines of text. Let's say in the input mask, we'll have 3 lines. And I mean, this is a very trivial example, but it's very typical. You'll have a customer that adds text here, and even more than with tokens. So, great. But these line breaks will not be shown at all. It doesn't work because it'll put it all on one line, because HTML doesn't acknowledge line breaks, right? We all know that. So let's continue to expand the template. So far we had the quote here, and let's say we do a .replace, and it's just behind my camera. Just a little bit. Give me a second. .replace. Not extremely nice, but it should do the trick. Okay, let's see if this works. I didn't try it before, so maybe I'm messing it up here somewhere. Yep, doesn't look very exciting yet. Let me just look. And continuing. I just found the problem. I had the slash placed incorrectly. It has to go the other way. That was it. So this is the code in large again. So like that, with the slash the other way. And let's save it and see what happens, because this kind of a replace feature is very, very powerful, and we love it. And you'll notice that it produces something you may not expect. It replaced every line break with the BR, but it didn't create HTML. It actually created escaped HTML so that I cannot, by accident or unexpectedly, introduce script injection, cross-site scripting or something. Now, it's a security feature, and to correct that, by the way, is actually very simple. But again, it's a security feature. This is done for your safety, and the correct way to do that is to really tell them we really want to output this, and this is how we would say that. Now, again, just an HTML.raw as a wrapper, and from then on, everything that comes out of that little part will actually not be escaped or encoded anymore. It'll just be raw HTML and everything will work. So let's just look at the output right now. It should now finally create multi-line comments. What may seem very simple here, by the way, is really powerful. You can do really, really cool templates doing very trivial stuff for your customers, and they'll love you for it, okay? So this is just a simple replace and HTML raw, very important feature to actually work with Razor. This is also why I didn't show you so far how to use the content toolbar. You may notice I've kind of like skipped out on this so far. The reason is it also produces HTML. You'll see that in a second. So without the HTML raw, the content toolbar doesn't make that much sense. So let's... And that's it. It'll generate the little button we all know and love. Currently still inline. And that works. So let's go back to our presentation and see where we can continue. So you finally, I have a fly here that I'm swatting. So we've done a replace. Again, the code here is wrong. And the cool thing about using Razor is you have the full power of the C# framework. You can do everything, including file access. You can check or validate if an image exists. You could even like check first what size it is and maybe resize it, maybe not. You can do so many cool things, and you can also use Razor to write into SQL databases and text files. May seem trivial, very powerful. So some important tricks I just want to tell you so that you can get started and not mess up too much. HTML raw is important for a few things. Then Razor needs to know where to stop guessing what a variable is. That's why if after a variable you see a special character like a question mark or an HTML tag, Razor knows that that's the end of the variable. That's the end of the expression that it has to do something with. But if you connect text directly, it won't know where the variable starts or stops. Okay? It's pretty intuitive, but if you've never seen it, it doesn't work. Then this one's important too. If you're like going to do adding or something, you have to kind of wrap it in that squiggly brackets, because otherwise it doesn't know what to do. And inside the squiggly brackets, you shouldn't use the @ anymore, because that too will bother it. Then inside stuff, if you want to output text, again, it needs to know where the Razor stops, so you need to use spans. Or sometimes you'll need the text tag. If you don't understand what I just said, just go ahead and start doing something. You'll realize it pretty soon. So we just did that already, so that's taken care of. And let's review some simple examples I've prepared for you. They're linked in the text here. In the Razor Basics section, you see an if statement. We've just done one, so let's skip out on that. A replace you've also seen as well. You haven't seen a loop yet, so let's look inside a simple loop. And this is it. Here I said if the link is not blank, I'm actually going to like loop through them and split it by commas. This is a trick to add more than one link to a field. Okay? Very, very simple. Review the code yourself if you're interested. Or working with variables, also not trivial. You can, or not complicated is what I was going to say. It's very simple. Here's some sample code saying, okay, this is a variable. I'm writing in something. If something happens, then write something else. And here I'm actually showing this content. Very, very simple. And so much more powerful than tokens that I really recommend that you get started with razor. Okay, so that was it. Discover anything you want to. Try it out. Check it out. 2SexyContent.org. Have fun. We really love doing this for you. And with Razor, it becomes so powerful and so neat. Yeah, just enjoy it. This was Daniel Mettler for 2SIC Internet Solutions. Thank you for watching.